I sent a messenger to you in town, 2 messengers. I've been looking for you all day. Yevgeny Pavlovich stood on the steps as if thunderstruck. Lizaveta Prokofyevna also stopped in her tracks, but not in horror or petrified like Yevgeny Pavlovich. She looked at the brazen woman with the same pride and cold contempt as at the wretched little people 5 minutes earlier, and at once shifted her intent gaze to Yevgeny Pavlovich. News. The ringing voice went on. Don't worry about Kupfer's promissory notes. Rogozhin bought them up at 30, I persuaded him. You can be at peace for at least another 3 months. And we'll probably come to terms with Biskup and all that riffraff in a friendly way. Well, so there, it means everything's all right. Cheer up. See you tomorrow. The carriage started off and soon vanished. She's crazy, Yevgeny Pavlovich cried at last, turning red with indignation and looking around in perplexity. I have no idea what she's talking about. What promissory notes? Who is she? Lizaveta Prokofyevna went on looking at him for another 2 seconds. Finally, she turned quickly and sharply to go to her own dacha, and the rest followed her. Exactly a minute later Yevgeny Pavlovich went back to the prince's terrace in extreme agitation. Prince, you truly don't know what this means? I don't know anything, replied the prince, who was under extreme and morbid strain himself. No? No. I don't either, Yevgeny Pavlovich suddenly laughed. By God, I've had nothing to do with these promissory notes, believe my word of honor. What's the matter? Are you feeling faint? Oh, no, no, I assure you. 11. Only 3 days later were the Epanchins fully propitiated. Though the prince blamed himself for many things, as usual, and sincerely expected to be punished, all the same he had at first a full inner conviction that Lizaveta Prokofyevna could not seriously be angry with him, but was more angry with herself. Thus it was that such a long period of enmity brought him by the 3rd day to the gloomiest impasse. Other circumstances also brought him there, but one among them was predominant. For all 3 days it had been growing progressively in the prince's suspiciousness, and lately the prince had been blaming himself for the 2 extremes, his uncommonly senseless and importunate gullibility and at the same time his dark and mean suspiciousness. In short, by the end of the third day the adventure with the eccentric lady who had talked to Yevgeny Pavlovich from her carriage had taken on terrifying and mysterious proportions in his mind. The essence of the mystery, apart from the other aspects of the matter, consisted for the prince in one grievous question: was it precisely he who was to blame for this new monstrosity, or only, but he never finished, who else? As for the letters NFB, that was, in his view, nothing but an innocent prank, even a most childish prank, so that it was shameful to reflect on it at all, and in one respect even almost dishonest. However, on the very first day after the outrageous evening, of the disorder of which he had been so chiefly the cause, the prince had the pleasure, in the morning, of receiving Princess Hch. and Adelida. They came, chiefly, to inquire after his health, came together, during a stroll. Adelida had just noticed a tree in the park, a wonderful old tree, branchy, with long, crooked boughs, all in young green, with a hole and a split in it. She had decided that she simply had to paint it. So that she talked of almost nothing else for the entire half-hour of her visit. Princess Hch. was amiable and nice, as usual, asked the prince about former times, recalled the circumstances of their first acquaintance, so that almost nothing was said about the day before. Finally Adelida could not stand it and, smiling, confessed that they had come incognito. With that, however, the confessions ended, though this incognito made one think that the parents, that is, mainly Lizaveta Prokofyevna, were somehow especially ill-disposed. But Adelida and Princess Hch. did not utter a single word either about her, or about Aglaya, or even about Ivan Fyodorovitch during their visit. They left for a walk again, but did not invite the prince to join them. Of an invitation to call on them there was not so much as a hint. In that regard Adelida even let slip a very characteristic little phrase. Speaking of one of her watercolors, she suddenly wanted very much to show it to him. How shall we do it the sooner? Wait. I'll either send it to you today with Kolya, if he comes, or bring it over myself tomorrow, when the prince and I go for a walk again. She finally concluded her perplexity, happy to have succeeded in resolving the problem so adroitly and conveniently for everyone. Finally, on the point of taking his leave, Prince Shch. seemed suddenly to remember. Ah, yes, he asked, might you at least know, dear Lev Nikolaevich, who that person was who shouted to Yevgeny Pavlik from her carriage yesterday? It was Nastasia Philippovna, said the prince. Haven't you learned yet that it was she? But I don't know who was with her. I know, I've heard. Prince Shch. picked up. But what did the shout mean? I confess, it's such a riddle for me and others. Prince Shch. spoke with extraordinary and obvious amazement. She spoke about some promissory notes of Yevgeny Pavlik's, the prince replied very simply, which came to Rogozhin from some moneylender, at her request, and for which Rogozhin will allow Yevgeny Pavlik to wait. I heard, my dear prince, but that simply cannot be. Yevgeny Pavlik could not have any promissory notes here. With his fortune, true, there were occasions before, owing to his flightiness, and I even used to help him out, but with his fortune, to give promissory notes to a moneylender and then worry about them is impossible. And he can't be on such friendly and familiar terms with Nastasia Philippovna, that's the chief puzzle. He swears he doesn't understand anything, and I fully believe him. But the thing is, dear prince, that I wanted to ask you, do you know anything? That is, has any rumor reached you by some miracle? No, I don't know anything, and I assure you that I took no part in it.